The idea of showing them how we're living up here without cleaning up the place or moving things around like we sometimes do for other TV or jazzing it up in any way. You'll find that haven't practiced this. Don't have any lighting set particularly for it. The lightings are just exactly like we use them during the day, and sometimes they change, and whatever way they are now is the way we're shooting it. So you'll notice that I'll be out of focus sometimes. I'll try to zoom in for you. Sometimes I'll brush through the light. Please excuse it, but as I say, the whole object is just to show you how we're living up here, show you where things are, and maybe aid you in getting started. I think probably the best bet is to, I won't be in the picture, I'll just be shining it on these things and talking about it. I'll try to point out the things that I think are different from the trainer. One of the recommendations I would have to begin with, Jerry, is that you try to configure the trainer so that it's in an operating condition, so that all the little straps are out and all the bungees are out, all the comm cables are out in the right places, and things like that will help you find this gear. We got up here and it was all tucked away. We put it out and we didn't know where to put it, and then we'd put it somewhere and move it 2 days later because we found we were putting it in the wrong place. So enough said on that. I think it just behooves you to get all this gear out. Maybe you've already done it. If you haven't, please do. And I'll give you some examples here in a few minutes. Okay. Let's start up here at the MDA end. First of all, there's one of the suits. And I think it's a good idea to put the fella who's going to do the M509 and T20 suit in that position, which is essentially just standing up there right next to the fan that goes into the command module. Just stand him up over there in the corner, lean him between the drogue and the probe, and he's easy to get out, and he doesn't get bent, he doesn't get bumped into, and it's really a good spot. And since you get that more than any others, that's a good place to put it. It's not that important, but that's where we've ended up doing. Okay, the other suit is up here over the top of the hatch. And let me see if I can open the lens a little bit. Okay, you can see him in there over the hatch. Now, he's a little bit tighter to get in. What we had to do there is lower the hatch, kind of put him in position, and then close the hatch sort of over him. Now, you have to pull his arm back behind that duct. You can see. You can probably see his watch there. Arm behind the duct, but essentially you can get him in an out-of-the-way place, and you don't bend the suit. One of the things we tried to do up here was not bend the suits too much so that they'd get crevices where they could gather moisture. You'll notice his hand, it's in front of this light, sort of, but you can find the spot. Those are easy to get into. The third suit, we've got under the table for the ATM. Now, it's kind of hard to see. There's his arm coming out. If I look back here, I can see his legs. They stick out, but nothing ever gets down there. That cable running across it, incidentally, is to the 54 timer. I'll show you where that is in a few minutes. But in order to keep dirt from brushing off our shoes, which we don't have much of anyhow, we just laid a plenum bag over the top of him, of the suit. So that's why it doesn't look exactly like a suit, but it is, and it's been a good place. Now, that's the hardest one to get in, and but it essentially slides out right here. If I were you, I'd get the 3 old suits over there at the trainer and stick them in those places and leave them there, because there's no reason that they shouldn't be there, and you can learn to work with them. You'll see right in front of it is the plenum bag that houses the PCU for the EVA 3-man. We just keep it in there along with its cables. It's nice. It doesn't bother anybody. Nobody bumps into it. Nobody hits it. And then it's right there ready for use when EV3 gets ready to use it. Normally, Jack, in our case, pulls it out. Let's don't look at the suits anymore. Let's go back to the front, see if there's anything back here at the front that's worth looking at. Okay, let me show you one other item up here. Oh, by the way, since we've got the ray gyros, they took the place where this tree used to be, the VS tree. So we've just taken the VS tree and put it up there and kind of put a spring around it and held it to the handle, as you can see, put some tape. Incidentally, I called down for you all to bring some more gray tape. Now, I think you've got plenty already here, but it never hurts to have a roll or two. I'd bring a couple of rolls if I were you, and I'd bring one roll of that, what's called neutral 2-inch wide tape. I think you have enough up here, but never hurts. Okay, let's look down here then. Okay, what we're looking at is the comm box right by the E-rep. One of the things that we found out, you'll notice that automatic light control tends to get us, is when we're doing E-rep, we like to have these little bunny hats on. So we keep one connected to A right here, just wrapped around and sort of stuck down there. You can see it doesn't go anywhere and it doesn't ever get hurt. And then the man that's running the C&D uses that one. The one that the man running the VTS uses is just hanging up here over the vacuum chamber. His cable runs along. We just got it strung here. Now, you ought to get yours strung like this in the trainer. Just leave it there. It looks like heck, but it works. Our aim all the time is, when we're here, even before we came, was to get this stuff rigged up and use it and not fool around with taking it down and wrapping it up and coiling it and all that business. As long as it was safe, it wasn't going to get damaged, then we just left it in place. And this stuff is safe and hasn't been damaged. Okay, nothing much more there. As you know, we've got no way to align the 191 anymore, so we put tapes around those two alignment and lock knobs. So they were lined. They didn't seem to drift when we were here. Don't have any trouble. You'll notice we've added a few more clamps and clips to the double clipboard, which incidentally works well. You'll see the clips there. You'll see the little rig that was invented to hold the pages down. We don't usually put the book there. You'll notice right in front of you there is the fire chart. Right there is the emergency rapid delta P. They're perfect places. You'll also see two clips right in there that we use for E-rep also. Now that little rag in front of that blower is what we dry out the command module moisture with. We just leave it there so it'll dry out. And we move it away from there for E-rep, and there's a clip behind there. The same one is holding that. We put another couple charts up there. Also, we tend to take some charts out and put behind where the E-rep, where the camera system is right now. You can't see it, but over in that area. That's about it up here. Let me show you where we've been keeping the captain's chair. We hadn't been using it much. We found that we like to just put our feet in the grid and just kind of swing back and forth. The thing that we found undesirable about the chair was the fact that it locked great to the flooring, but the flooring itself was loose, and so it was like sitting on a a chair in a restaurant where one leg's longer or shorter, and you're rocking all around. So we just float around. I'll show you that. Let me show you that right now, then we'll talk ATM for a few minutes. Let me set this up and point it that way. I don't know what kind of... Now, let me not do it. Let me suffice to say that you just put your feet in it and rock back and forth. Maybe Jack will come up here in a minute or so, and we'll ask him to do it. Okay, let me back off here in the corner, away from the... here, and see if I can show you what we got. Okay, this is as far as I can zoom back, but let's talk about the items. First of all, and these aren't the best places. You can probably get better ones. We just put them where the Velcro was. There's the Polaroid camera, just sort of stuck on that stowage box. Well, you got the timer up there from command module. Forget it. We'll take it, throw it away. You won't need it because you got the 54 timer. Then the rest of the notes up there are notes that have to do with rate gyro failures and things like that. We haven't been using the overlays much. Every once in a while, there's a permanent general message about something else. Looks a little messy. We know where everything is, and I think that works pretty well. It's a nice area to use, and I know you're familiar with it. Right under there is the image intensifier, and it's been working real well for us, as you know. Now, another place we sometimes put them is on the door of the two pieces of Velcro there on the door of the a flight data file. But we found when we open the door of the flight data file, they'll fly off. But sometimes we stick them there anyway. Okay, let's look at the corner here. You can see we've got some Polaroid pictures that we took of the sun today. I like to take one of H alpha and mark the numbers of the active regions if we got a bunch. And Owen likes to take them. Here's one he took of the coronal transient he had. You can see the 54 box there. It's taped down, works real well. We tried putting it other places. I don't think that's optimum. A couple of times I've moved the pointing when the 54 was still running, and it was a very bad thing to do. Wasted some frames. I can't find a better place. You may have found one. If a better one, phone it up. We might retape it. It's not perfect there, but it's the best we could find. Now that far right clip over there, what I've got down is a note that has to do with anything we're doing up here that's not ATM, like we've been running some battery checks, CBRM battery checks. That's a note there. We ran some other things recently and put them there. Right underneath that photo there in the corner, you'll notice is the power down and power up from unattended. We'll bring those home so that you can see the marks we've got on them, because they're different than what we use in the simulator, and I'm not sure all that information gets back. Over here now we have just some shopping lists sticking out. Also under there are our teleprinter fail ones. In that far right one, now I just got that kind of catty corner out because it's easier to see, and sometimes we operate with it there. Up a little higher now, right there in the middle, we keep all our star tracker pads or star tracker information. Right next to it there under that chronograph picture is where we keep the Sept and all that sort of good business. And it turns out to be a good place because the lighting's pretty good there. The lighting isn't that grand in here, and you got to get things you're reading fairly close to you and to the sides. And so these three spots, here, here, and here, are by far the best. If you plant your feet in position, you can move back and forth and around, get a little exercise, and work them at the same time. We've noticed that some of these springs, by the way, are springing so they don't hold things down. That's why we've got clips sort of attached in some places. Let me show you. See, there's a clip behind there. Okay, there's right in front of you is the normal job summary sheets we use. The ones beneath are the ones we're pulling in and out all the time, including 8. Job 3 we keep over here, and we've noticed we've never ever used our flare card, which is up there. So you might want to think about that. The job summary sheet is written well enough now, plus you kind of get a little bit used to it, and so that's what we've been using, the center part of that. You can see the clip there, and that's where we put our schedule pad. And the way we do it is we've got it folded, and then the minute we finish that day, we unclip it, refold it, and put down the next day. And that way you're always working near the top. That's worked real well. ATM operate pad in there. Let me show you around. You can see what we've got in the way of other things there. Nothing special that's different too much from anything you've been doing. Nothing new. Got some scotch tape up here because a lot of times you'll spend the night up here. It's a good place to make corrections to your checklist. Believe me, there's a lot of them. I asked Ted Guillory, them to tell Ted Guillory to come up with some sort of rig for downstairs to hold your gear for a checklist so the book doesn't float off, the pens and pencils and things, and that's up here just to do that sort of thing. Right there is the emergency procedure we have in case we have attitude control loss. It's not the world's greatest procedure, but it sure beats to what we had before, and it may save you some tax. So that's a good place, I think, to put yours if you want. There's a cable that Owen sometimes uses with a headset to debrief or talk when he wants to talk to the ground with ATM. Normally I had to turn some off. It's going to whistle. E-Wrap is plugged in now, but the one you see plugged in at the moment in that box is the one I'm using, and the E-Wrap is sort of hanging above it. When I get finished, I'll unplug this and go to the E-Wrap one. Let me show you the rate gyros. I'm sure you got them in your simulator now. There they set, and you'll see that neatsy little protective device over there, which isn't $2 grand, and we definitely need something better than that, and I'm hoping you're bringing it up, because as you whistle by that area, which is right behind the guy operating, you can really get them. We haven't done it, but we've been very careful. Now, I might show you something else. We've gone ahead and covered that switch down there that the circuit breaker houses. Let me show you that circuit breaker while we're at it. Not the circuit breaker house, that's the high power. We find that circuit breaker for you and show you what we've done. It needs to be improved too. Okay, there it is. What it is that little metal clamp with then some gray tape over it, over the place that it hooks to the guard so it won't rotate. Now, I know you still don't see that too well, but it may be better than nothing. We put some bungees up here because we found we were doing a lot of photographing up here. So there's the interior camera. It's snapped down to a couple of bungees over the guards, and that way we can get to window 1, which is the window you use most. And sometimes you use 4, but it faces the sun a little bit too much, and a lot of times you'll use window 4. So essentially you can come in here and get your cameras, and there's many times that we have the cameras there with those bungees. We'll leave them right in place for you, even though it'll look a little messy, we'll leave them there. We'll clean the place up, but we're going to leave the equipment out in the operating positions so that you won't have to, you'll at least start from where we were. Now down there is the edge of the plenum bag, as I mentioned, where we've got our PCU, but you'll also, that's a great place to stick the orbital maps and the maps that we have for taking pictures. You know, those, that little set of Earth maps, which incidentally is good, but you need something even better than that with more detail, I believe. Anyhow, that's, we stick them in there sometimes. It works okay. Forgot to mention, there's a tape recorder sort of hanging there below the comm box. We keep one of that little messed up bit of wire as part of it's to this TV, the other part's to that tape recorder. We leave it there, and then when you come up here, you play music. One of the things we found is really great is to bring your tapes up here, play them while you do the ATM, and it just really passes the time. It's the only time you're really in sort of kind of by yourself. And you come up here and spend 2 or 3 hours, and it's really pleasant. You work the ATM, which is a lot of fun, a good challenge. And I'll tell you, the whole thing builds your humility, though, because there's no way to go very long on any of this without making mistakes. And you just hope you don't make any that are too large. I don't think we have made any large ones yet, but I'll tell you, you're doing something every minute. You're throwing a switch or reading a thing, and you think you're good till you get here, and then you find out you're not as good as you think, but maybe that's good for you. So anyhow, I think I've given you a pretty good tour of the MDA. Let me see if there's anything special here. Oh yeah, one other thing. This is where we've been stashing our Polaroid films. We always put a daytime group on them, then use them for a couple days, then when they get out of date, we put them over there. We'll leave that bag for you. There's where we stash the Earth map and the U.S. map. It's a fair place. When we get ready to use them with EWIP, we take them down there, and we usually bring the one up from the war journal. Let me mention something you're going to want to do, Jerry. You're going to want to get EREP to mark out these sites he's going to send you up to do handheld photos. And you may want to bring up one of these charts with a marked on there nice with some additional notes. And you're going to want to have them marked by number on the charts so that you can look, so that when they send up and do target 10, handheld, you don't have to go 2 or 3 places to find out what to do. And somehow you ought to be able to put it on that chart with a little arrow that says, on this one we want you to look for faults and cracks. We want you to look for this, look and see if you see a drought area and all this other. Because it's turned out to be one of the tougher things. But I think it could be one of the better things that you do. I don't know. I've got to get back to the ATM. I'll give you some more of this later. Right now we've got the foot restraint there. That's the greatest thing since popcorn. One of our biggest mistakes in EREP was not having one of those for the VTR. Sure, you can hold on by your hands, but then you can't grab your maps because you're holding on. And if you got your feet in something, you can grab masks, torque around, and grab this and that. You'll find out with your feet in something like this, it's great. This is in position now to do a 518, I believe. And normally we keep it in the EREP position. By the way, the tape recorder cleaning has been a piece of cake up here. We've found no dirt to speak of. We've cleaned them every time, but I think it's a waste of time in some respects to bother cleaning them. We do it. We got the cleanest tape recorders on earth. We clean them every day and never get any dirt off, but just a little. One other thing, up here at this high power outlet, up here at the top, is high power accessory outlet. It's the only one besides the one that the VTR, only one besides I wonder if this VTR is running. Let me do a little thinking. What they've done is taken the VTR. I see what Jack's done. Normally the VTR is plugged in there, and we only take it out to do the vacuum cleaning because that's where the vacuum cleaner has to plug in. But I see what Jack's done. He's taken the VTR cable out and run it on this cable all the way down to the dome because he's got to run 518 through there. So this is an unusual configuration, but essentially you're a little short of high power outlets. So when you want 518, you might want to, doesn't look worth a darn, but it works. You might want to run this cable, double high power cable, all the way back through the airlock down to the dome. Worked okay. Okay, I got to get off this now. I hope this, I'll give you some more tonight. We'll go down and talk about the workshop and some of the other places down there.